So I think what I'll try to do is create some more edge loops that will let me maintain the general shape here, but also get some more specific information for the manubrium and this inferior margin of the ribs. You can see where the margin of the ribs should be way over here. But my edge, if I pull that over, then I get this kind of distortion. So I'm going to try doing that first. I'm going to say Mesh Tools, insert edge loop, and I'm going to insert an edge loop right along the sternum. Okay, and I'm going to do one more. That's going to represent where the manubrium joins the gladiolus. So that should give me a little more information, or at least access to more points that I can use. Now, let's see what I can do about that inferior margin now that I have that. So, let's see here. For some reason it's not giving me the 3. See, it's giving me the shell outside, and I'm trying to get it to give me just the 1. Let's see. Let's go back. I always seem to forget to take, there we go. Okay. So always I leave that tool on, and trouble. Okay, now this represents the juncture of the gladiolus. So I want to pull that out a little bit. Let's see what we can do about these inferior margins. So now this edge represents the width of the sternum. Bring that in a little more, but I want to get that margin a little better here. Let's see if I grab that vertex there and there. Maybe bring that down. So let's change that position. Now, what's getting hard to do when we add more points like this, it's getting hard to always get the matching set of vertices or edges, right? So we're going to use a new technique here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select my object. This is all the history. See this input? That's all things we've done. And as a result, it's adding up. And it's going to help. It may make the software crash if I don't take care of it. So what I'm going to say first is edit, delete by type history. Now all that history went away. I'm going to modify freeze transformations and center the pivot. It should be okay now. And then I think the next thing we'll do is, with the object selected, go under Mesh and say Mirror. And I want to open my outliner too for a second and see what this all looks like. So right now that's my rib cage. So let's double click it and say rib cage. So with this outliner, this mirror options, okay, let me review where I got that from. Mesh, mirror, and I click the option box. I'm going to cut the geometry in the x-axis. So when I do that, see what happens is I now divided the thing in half. I'm going to delete that half. It leaves me only one half. Now I'm going to go to a different menu, this duplicate special. Now this is critical. I've changed this to -1 scale. So it's not going to move. The translation X, Y, and Z. These columns represent X, Y, and Z. Not going to move, not going to rotate. It's going to scale in a -1 scale, which means it's going to basically make an mirror image of itself. Okay, I'm going to undo that for a second. And instead of having copy selected, I'm going to have instance. And when I say apply, I now have an instance. So when I select my original, hit 3, they both go to 3. If I select a vertex on this side, it automatically selects its companion or mirror image on the other side. Okay, so I think the one thing we want to do with this kind of setup, it works well. You see, I've got a kind of a dent here. It's like this thing right here. These vertices really should come out. And this one, I think, should come in just a little bit. And it really doesn't matter which one I pick. If I pick the instance side and move it, the original side will move. So they're going to move and stay complementary. They're going to match up. Right here you can see where things were a little wide. So let's try taking this edge and just scaling it in just a little bit. Now there's a problem. See what happened? I'm pulling apart here in the middle. I'm going to undo that. That's one thing you want to be careful of. So let's instead take just that edge and just move it closer to the center line. And let's take this edge and move it out a little bit. Okay, so you want to be careful, keep conscious, aware of what's going on with that centerpiece. Now this is a little bit of a mess here. The other thing is, instead of making, when it did the flip, it made a little mess right here. See how those lines are creating a triangle? We'll fix that when we get done. So we really want to focus just on the outsides now. Make sure that we've got the margin of the ribs I was struggling with. This edge down here, really, I'm going to get rid of this face. Let's see if I get rid of that face and that face and that face. Maybe not. Let's try taking this face and just raising it up a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. And then maybe taking this vertex and moving it. Scaling it, or moving, I'm sorry, in a little bit. Same with this. Just to try to get a little better curve there. See how that's kind of reflecting more the curve? Okay. I'm going to take this one, move it up still higher. Take the vertex, move it in. So I'm getting a little better match with that rib. Same with this edge. Okay. Grab both those vertices. So you really want to be careful at that center because that can really cause you a problem. Alright, I think that's given us a pretty good shape. We got a little work to do here. And the software did definitely make a mistake here, so we'll have to fix that. Let's see, how can we get rid of this mess it made here? Well, first let's do this. Let's take the edge that are making, I don't ever want a three-sided face like this. So what I can do is I can go under Edit Mesh, delete edge, edit mesh. So I can't hit delete. I have to say delete edge vertex, and that will make it better. Now I've got rid of that mess there. And what I'll do is I'll a tool we haven't used before, inside the modeling toolkit. It's called the multi-cut tool. And what I'll do is I'll cut by hand. Now I have what I was looking for originally. Okay. Now you may see this. I think this is too broad here. This gap. So I'll move that. Get that a little rounder. I think the same thing could be said with these. So, but you see the advantage here now is as I move this to manipulate my shape, I'm automatically maintaining symmetry without having to remember to make sure I have both. Let's see what we get then on a sweep. There we go. So I like all this. I just don't like this. You know, feels like I need something here. I need an edge coming down here that I can manipulate more than this. I'm going to go back to that same multi-cut tool. See what happens if I do this. Now I ended up on the very, oops, I missed it. Ended up right there. So I'm on that edge. I'm going to say return, it's how to do that. Okay. And then we'll take this. Now we can move things around a little bit more so that I get a little more full feel there. Now this is a problem because I have a three-sided face here. And I've kind of created myself an issue no matter what I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this edge, get rid of it, and use my multi-cut tool one more time. Come from here and continue through this mass to there. Okay, so now I've got four-sided. Now I'm not even sure I need this edge. I think I'm better off with these edges where I have them here. On this vertex, you can see where it feels like it's dented or indented there. Let's pull that out. Okay. And I think this and this we can move closer. Let's go to the top view because we know from our diagram, we know from our diagram that this opening should be 4 eyes wide. So let's go back to the graph, the grid, I'm sorry. Change the subdivisions to 5 so we have that unit. And then we need 2 on each side so you can see where we're actually too wide with both of these. So then you see quickly how that starts to look more natural. Okay. Again, I think continue to manipulate this to get even closer. All right, and we'll do that. We'll play with the or manipulate the back so that we accommodate for the vertebra in the next episode.